So welcome back, guys. It's been a little while since I've made a video. Today we're actually going to be installing a light bar on my 2024 Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. I've had the ditch lights on now for a little over a year, but I've been wanting to add a light bar to the front end of the truck to give a little bit more forward lighting now for some time. About 2 or 3 months ago, I actually ordered a light bar for up front, but it just didn't fit. I was going to put it right above the tag, and it was just too thick. So I saw in the Facebook group about a month ago, somebody had actually put it in the exact same spot I really wanted to place it. Somebody asked where they got that part at, and there wasn't really much of a response. I'm not one to gatekeep. If I find a part, I'm gonna share it with you. So if you check the description below, you can find that part. It's really cheap, bought it from Amazon. It's pretty thin. It's the right length for what I'm gonna use it for. Again, I think they have white and they have yellow, and they have one that switches between white and yellow. So whatever variation you want, they have. Quality may be questionable. It's a cheap part, but again, there's a multitude of them out there now that are very thin. I am gonna wire it up to my switch panel. So let's go ahead and get started. I am gonna have to remove this piece right here. And that'll be very simple. There's a couple push clips and I'll show you how to do that. I am gonna have to remove my bumper camera. Actually, it just takes a zip tie. I'm gonna undo the zip tie. We're gonna pull that loose and I'm actually going to mount it. So let's go ahead and get started. There's actually gonna be 2 T15 Torx bits. I do believe I'm gonna double check that they're T15s. Now, if you actually have the shroud, there actually is gonna be some other clips or bolts right here. I do not, because I have the ZR2 shield here. So I will only have, or if you have the ZR2 shield, you only have 2 of these, one on each side. So I'm going to get these removed. And then there's a bunch of clips, body clips, and I think you just pop this loose, more or less, and it should come right loose. I'll show you that once I get those 2 T15 Torx bits taken out. And for me, I have my Wolf Box camera mounted here, and I have it zip tied back here, so I have to, clip that. But I do plan on mounting it right here. So I am gonna have to Dremel out these pieces. I don't know exactly how many I'll have to Dremel out, because I am gonna actually drill into this piece right here to mount it. And it will fit right here. I thought about putting it up here, and it would fit up here as well, or right here, but I am thinking about trying to eventually upgrade the bumper to something else. And I know that a lot of the bumpers or aftermarket bumpers already have a light bar placement down in this area. So I didn't want to go ahead and Dremel anything out up here, because in case I did get a new bumper, I wanted to keep this intact. So let's go ahead and get this piece removed, get those 2 T15 Torx bits taken out. And guys, I told you wrong, you don't have to take the T15s out. There are actually 2 pop clips. In my instance, there was only 1, but they look like this, and they're still in the same spot, more or less. Just look for ones that look like this. You pop them out. The T15s are actually for the bumper, which I'll put the other one back in, so they're actually like this. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and just pop out the cover right here. And again, you'll have more clips and things you have to take off if you have the shroud. But if you're already taking your shroud off, then you won't have to worry about that. So let's go ahead and get this cover popped off. And if you haven't done a lot of work or panel pulling or anything like that, this is a plastic panel pulling tool, and that's what I use. What I've used in the stereo speaker installs and just pulling any type of pop clips out. Pretty cheap. You can buy a set of them at Walmart, Amazon, Advance Auto, any of those places. Just pick you up a set if you're working on your vehicle. Very, very handy. Again, let's go ahead and get this started. Let's go ahead and get started and pull this piece off. There'll probably be quite a bit of mud. Try not to break anything. You gotta pull. You still wanna be somewhat gentle. Make sure there's nothing really attached. In the back, I don't think there is. We're good. Okay. So a complete word of caution. Again, I mentioned that these could break, and they will. Now getting it back in with some broken clips, I have 1, 2 that are not broken, and the rest are they're broke. But I think it'll go back in fine and it'll hold. I got some clips on the bottom. Clips on the side are fine. Positive note again, hopefully I'll be upgrading the bumper and this piece won't be a problem in the future. We'll see. I think it'll be fine. We're gonna stick it back on. We're gonna stick the light bar on top of this, and we're going to go ahead and Dremel these tabs out. And I'll show you the light bar. I was just kind of test fitting it a minute ago. As you can see, it is very, very thin. So it'll sit about like right, so you zoom out, kind of come out with it with about like that. It came with some long wire. I'm gonna route the wire. If you've watched my fog light video, I'm gonna route it the same way that I routed my fog light wires. So we will test this. I think it'll be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and Dremel these tabs out first. And the positive thing about these tabs, again, if you do a bumper upgrade in the future, you don't have to worry about these either because this piece comes out as well. So again, these will be Dremeled. I'm going to try to smooth them out as best as possible. And then I'll go ahead and mount the light bar with this applied hardware to the top of this piece. And then we'll just reattach it. And then we'll run the wire to our switch panel. Should be pretty simple. Just kind of almost plug and play. I mean, it came with these alligator ones. You don't have to really do too much. I'll use some electrical tape. Plug them in, electrical tape, make sure, and maybe actually not even electrical tape. I might, we'll see. I might actually put some, something around to be just a little bit more secure. We'll see how that goes. But let's go ahead, especially against water, let's go ahead and get these Dremeled out next. I don't know. Didn't get close enough, really, to what I needed. Okay, well, that didn't work too well. After our first Dremel endeavor, I ended up just cutting it and using that to file it down, and it worked fine. As you can see, it's pretty smooth. So only 3 more to go. We'll cut the next one and we'll use that again to get these filed down. And then we'll put our light on. It's a little bit slower process, but it's working. And I feel like it's a little bit safer using the Dremel anyways than using that little metal piece I had. So I'll show you the next one how I do it. Since I feel like I know what I'm doing now, at least a little bit more. I don't have much experience, I'll be honest with you, using the Dremel. But that's the way you do things. You just kind of experiment and you learn. I'll have to get that a little bit closer, but well, close enough. Now, let's Dremel it down. Okay, got that one. Make sure the Dremel's not burning up because again, this is a cheap, I think $25 Amazon Dremel, cordless. Huh? Well, it's working pretty good. Now keep in mind, this is soft plastic. One thing I don't like about this one, if you can see, that piece keeps on coming up and I'm using the right size bit. So I don't like that, but it is what it is. So I keep on checking it every so often. Oh, well, that one's done for. Let me let it cool off for a second, guys. I'm gonna finish the last one here just in a second. Same process. I'm just gonna replace this. It came with a ton of them. These little things, I hope you can see that. I don't know if it's focusing the camera. I gotta put the new head on, or whatever you wanna call that. And I'll finish this last one off. And I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna mount this. There's not gonna be a lot of measuring to it. I'm just gonna eyeball it, because like I did the actual water hookup, I'm gonna try to get as center as possible to the tag. The tag is I'm gonna use the tag as an actual centering point, and just actually use some screws, some black screws I bought from Lowe's, and use that to mount it to this actual piece. So this is the dilemma that we're at. I'll show you kind of what I'm looking through right now and how I'm gonna try to go through, how I'm gonna work through this. So I got my lot bar, the mounts on it right now. And I'm gonna put it somewhere about like right here. I'm gonna put a screw through about like right that, just a little bit backwards from that, just so it'll have a little bit of clearance. I'm just going to double check. I'm probably measure it a little bit, but if you're doing that through the bumper or through this cover, you're going to actually have a problem with the screw. Of course, going through this, there's overhang right here, so it's hard to put the cover back on and actually drill cleanly through this. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna go ahead and put the lot bar, I'm gonna go ahead and mount it onto this, measure how the distance between those, I suppose, or I guess I could go ahead and measure the distance between these right now, between these holes, and pre-drill the holes into the bumper. I'm just trying to figure that out right quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount the lot bar right quick, I think, and just kind of go ahead and see how that looks and get that mounted up, get that screwed in. And even if I don't fully go all the way through with the screw, at least have it halfway, and that'll give me an idea of what I need to do with this actual cover, with this bumper cover, with the screw going through and actually clearing it. So let's go ahead and get this mounted and we'll go from there. Of course we mess up, I suppose, but I'm gonna give it a shot before it starts raining. Okay, there's the first bit through. Okay, it's good. Good deal. First time, which had to be the first time. Now, the conundrum comes exactly how to fix the holes in the bumper up here, how to actually drill air spots in this one. So let's go ahead and figure that out. what I'm gonna try to do, I think what I'm gonna try to do is back it out. I have enough clearance to put it back in place, and still I should have enough room now to be able to drill it into that cover. All right, so here we go. We are gonna have to put the wires through first. And with this, you have to be careful. You have your shutters too. Not your radiator shutters, there's some shutters down here at the very bottom. Make sure they're not interrupting anything. It's not interrupting anything else. Okay. And once you can see them, and I got them right here, if you can, I don't know if the camera can catch that or not. I'll try to move just so you can see it. There it is. Okay, we're good. And it's kind of out of the way of everything else too. So, here we are. And keeping in mind that we do have some broken clips and we'll have to work through that, but we'll get there. I don't know if the screws are keeping it from going or if it's because of clips. If it's the clips, I can't really help that. That's my own bad. Live and learn, right? That was it. Figured it out it was a clip. I fixed it though. Now if I can get this right without stripping the screw in the process, we're gonna try. Damn. It worked there. All right, guys, with a little bit of figuring it out, I got at least placed there. Now just to get it wired up. Not too shabby. Whew. All right. Now let's get it wired up, run the wire down from the switch panel or run them up, whichever way you want to go about it. I probably won't walk you through the whole process of wiring these up. I'm running the exact same way that I actually ran the wires on my fog lights, but I will walk you through some of it just so you can be familiar, especially if you plan on doing this yourself. They have, of course, your wire, the wire from the actual light bar, which actually has those alligator clips or whatever kind of clips you want to call these. It goes to a relay. The relay goes to a fuse, power, ground. You can run this to your battery if you wanted to. Really nice if you don't have a switch panel. Then the super long wire, I'm thankful we don't have to do this because gosh, it takes so much longer. It goes to a switch. Kind of a cruddy switch, to be honest. It's okay. We don't need all that though. You know, and if I need more wire, I have it. I'd rather not have to use more wire. I'd rather just this be enough, and I think it may be. Should be enough, we'll see. So what we're gonna do, since we're gonna use the maximum amount of wire that we can, I'm gonna cut right about here, and everything else, well, make sure it goes through all the way. Okay, all this other stuff, as you've seen me before, you don't need. The relay, the switch, the power ground like this for the battery, you don't need it. So we'll just go ahead and get this wired up, plugged in. All right, guys, I'm going to show you all this light bar. It may be a little bit dark for you all out here. The lights may be a little bit bright. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit better. Well, I'll leave the low beams on, but let's go ahead and turn the light bar on. That, I believe, honestly, if I'm sitting in the driver's seat right now, that is actually the white light. That is the yellow light. I can reverse that or flip the light. I have to extend the wire to have the yellow light facing downward, and I may do that in the future. That is another version of the white light. I believe it's a brighter version. There's flashing if you would like to have a seizure. And there is a yellow flashing. And there's both. And back to white. Back to yellow. And back to white again. So I'll take you on from the driver's seat and we'll show you what that looks like. Again, the install wasn't too bad. Everything went back together really well. The cover went back on well. I don't know if I'd really recommend, unless you were actually going to replace a bumper in the future, to actually do the screws like I did. But honestly, I think it'll hold up just fine. Wiring went well. I'm really content with the way it turned out. I am happy with it. So we'll see how this does long term, if it's going to make a difference, especially, you know, off-roading, overlanding, things of that nature. So for just, I'll put my other lights on too. So that's kind of a full example. I'd say it's really bright. I said camera, I don't know how it's handling it right now. That's all my lights. And this would be the, well, go back to yellow light, that yellow light. So there is that. I'd say it's pretty bright. So again, let's just drive here and see what this looks like. I'll show you from inside the truck. All right, guys, so I'm gonna give you an example from inside the car or truck. Sorry about that. Turn the fog lights off. So that is with the, I think the yellow one on. I can't really, it's hard to tell honestly on the street. Well, actually that was a white one, I apologize. This one's on with the yellow one on and low beams. It's pretty bright. I mean, you can tell that it's on. It makes a difference. So that is actually the yellow. Let's do both of them together. That's really bright. So that's the example of the lights on. I'd say honestly, again, on the trail, especially if it was foggy out, it'd make a huge difference. Any additional lighting for off-roading is always really handy to have, and having it kind of hidden like that is really helpful. Now, can I say that honestly a bigger light bar or something that's not as slim is going to be a little bit better? Maybe, possibly. You're going to have a little bit more, just a bigger light. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. But for this space, the space that you have in the grill where it's at, this is something that works. So if it's something that interests you, keep in mind, link is in the description. Really cheap, you can pick it up. Honestly, the install is not that bad. So it's something you can kind of keep in mind, something if you want to do, something if you want to pick up and try, give it a shot. You know, it's not a bad purchase. It's just determining if you want to do it for yourself. But until next time, I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Holy hell. Oh, boy. I think we're nearing something.